Jupiter retrograde in the 30th degree of Pisces. It seems a bit strange to be entering the very last symbol of the cycle in a retrograde way. Like we're supposed to be finished when we get to 30 Pisces, and here we are coming back to it from the first degree of Aries. It's a bit strange. But actually it underlines a very important point, that we don't ever finish. There is no such thing as finishing. And the idea of the 30th degree of Pisces is that this is where we've got to. This is the end of a cycle, a very important stage, but it's not the end. It's simply the reason why we must continue. It's the explanation for what gives rise to the next initiative, and then the next, and the next. Eternally. Eternally. That's just a word that we use willy-nilly, and yet you sort of think about what eternity actually means. It means timelessness, that we're not in a hurry, that there's plenty of time to do everything. There's just no need to do anything badly because we're in a rush. And we don't remember that wisdom very often in life. So the story of the Great Stone Face is written by an American author, Hawthorne, and it speaks of a seeker who goes out looking for someone to follow, basically a guide, a teacher, and is told that there exists a stone carving of the face of the Enlightened One, and he goes out looking for this face and finds it, only to kind of think that then he has to look for the person who looks most like that face. That's the idea. He sees the stone carving, and then he has to go around and find somebody who looks like that, and that'll be his teacher. Only to sort of realize one day that he's not going to find this person. They don't exist. That's where he's going in his mind. But in fact, the face looks exactly like his own face. He's looking out there for someone, but in fact, the only one that he could find is in here. This is very profound. This is Eastern mysticism. It's pointless looking out there for anything. Out there is only ever a reflection of in here. And when we get that, when we actually get what that book means when it tells us this, what that teacher means when we're told this, if we get it and we live like that, things change. This is the key difference between somebody who actually makes it and somebody who doesn't. Somebody who doesn't, which means most people, they read all the books and they agree with all the wisdoms and they're moved and inspired by all the teachings. And then they go back to work and they go back to their families and they go back to their pursuits and they don't change. Well, that doesn't work. What you have to do is you have to understand the teaching and embody it. So in this case, we have a phenomenon where Jupiter, the great giver of confidence, the expector of growth and success, Jupiter, is having another look at this question. So let's do that now. Let's just have another look. Are we looking out there for something that isn't there? And we can't find it because it isn't there. Because we're looking in the wrong direction. We should be looking in here. That which we idealize, the great stone face, the Buddha, really, the great image of the perfection of self, the perfection of humanity. Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if I was like that person? Well, you are. Whatever we idealize is within us, or we could not idealize it. Everything we imagine is within us, or we could not imagine it. Now, astrologically, this relates a lot to the midheaven. The midheaven tells us a lot about what we are idealizing Now, idealization is great. It's the perfection of imagination in a sense. We idealize something which is the best version that we can think of what we might become. Now that last bit of we might become it part is not generally understood. We idealize something. Oh wow, that's an amazing rock star, that's an amazing film actress, or that's an amazing brain surgeon. You know, all of these things, that they are amazing. We put it out there, and it's just as though we throw our amazingness away because we dump it on someone else. But the purpose of this process of being amazed by somebody, idealizing them, looking at them as though they are faultless, that puts out there a very clear image of what we would like to be next. It's not the end of the game, but it's a long way away from where we are. It's the idealized version of where we might be going in our lives if all turns out well, according to some people. But according to other people, us, I hope, we just idealize someone or something, and then we become it. Because we know that by idealization, we have awakened within us the potential form of self expressed in the world. Mostly people don't try. Certainly they don't succeed, but that's because they don't try. And Jupiter is not having that. Jupiter is actually now has just been reminded of what it's like in Aries, of what's coming next. It knows what's coming next after it's finished its retrogradation period. It's got a good idea of what it can do. And it's coming back into the highest wisdom that there is in the Sabian Symbols, the 360th degree of wisdom. It's you. It's just you expressed in the world. And whatever limitations you think you're seeing, they're not real. That's what you're putting out there for whatever reason. But one of the reasons is lack of confidence. Now, Jupiter won't let you get away with that, not for, well, this week or so, until about the 14th of November. We're being given this huge dose of Jupiter confidence. I can, I will, I must, I shall. And it's just been Aries. Jupiter is no longer what it was once upon a time. It is now fresh with the dose of emergence energy. Seed germinating into life, an acorn becoming that which will eventually grow to an oak tree. That's what Jupiter has just been experiencing, and now it's moving back into Pisces. Well, it's got a message for us. They get on with it. Whatever it is you think is wonderful in the world, that's you a little way down the line. So, anyway, let me just sort of see it in the terms of Mark Edmund Jones. The Great Stone Face. This is a symbol of human responsibility as an immortality of the soul and a way of living which has become a continual manifestation of its ideal, and so a constant dramatization of its self-discovery to others as an encouragement to them in their own alignment to eternal reality. Each individual selects the image within himself to which he would shape himself outwardly, and this he comes to resemble, as in Nathaniel Hawthorne's tale. Destiny is character, as it most persistently constitutes itself. Destiny is character, as it most persistently constitutes itself. The key word is discernment. When positive, the degree is self-integrity in its irresistible impact on the course of events. Self-integrity. Integrity is when we are one with ourselves. Now, if we separate I from my ideal, then we lack integrity. Integrity isn't only about being honest and telling the truth. It's about being whole, integrating all the bits of yourself. And if we exclude that which we idealize, that's not our integrity. So this is an opportunity for us to revisit some of the things that we've thrown away as non-attainable, as too much to hope for. Because we're only small and worthless beings, how could we possibly be worth that which we can hope for? That's the thinking that we have to mend. And Jupiter's able to do that immediately. No, you are much more than you've ever been demonstrating to the world. And the time has come. And Jones calls it a responsibility arises for you to be all that you can be. Now I'm writing slightly differently, but based on the same principle. The Great Stone Face, becoming our own ideal. Instead of ending our journey, we find that we have become the seed of yet another cycle of experimentation. We idealize love, truth, and God itself. And this is how we become aware of our relationship with archetypes. The essential conundrum with which Plato and Aristotle wrestled is whether we create the archetypes or the archetypes create us. The exact same puzzle is posed in the Hindu scripture, the Mahabharata. Do we create God, or does God create us? This is the mystery of life, and simply put, it is that life is a mystery, a paradox, and not within our grasp to understand. Life, God, oneself, are all beyond our comprehension. And yet, divine curiosity to know more of the eternal paradox is the very motivation that began it all and keeps it all going. What we see when we look is nothing more and nothing less than our expectation. So, why don't you expect to succeed?